In the Hebrides, in the olden days, before the years were reckoned, Mank the potter balled some clay, and to this ball he beckoned. A little lad he conjured there, first feet, then legs, then chest, with a face made after his own, and a cap like a robin's nest. For a heart, the potter used a Gad Nail 2 fingers long. He drove the spike in through the back, to where it would belong. As Mank kicked his wheel, and the doll whirled round his rig, he sang a special spell he'd learned, to make himself a zig. The wee lad blinked his eyes, then slowly raised his fist, and when he met his master's gaze, gave his forelock a twist. "I'll call you Gad," the potter said, "for your heart's a spike of steel. Now take my barrow, boy, and bring me back a meal." The Zig gazed at his potter, then leapt down to the floor. He took the pushcart by its sticks and shoved it to the door. But as Gad walked the path, the potter called to him. "The woods nearby are cursed," he warned. "Touch not a naughty limb." Mank's hut stood on a bluff in the foothills near Benmore. Gad pushed his barrow toward the sea, to forage by the shore. Once he'd found a bonny beach, he waded in the shallows, hunting there for whelks and spoots among the rocky hollows. But the ocean was unwilling. It gave Gad nothing back. The cockles had dug in, and the dulse had turned pitch black. As the sky grew darker, Gad's hope began to fail. He'd have to slink back to his potter without a single snail. At last he spied a turtle, clambering up the beach. It was paddling for the forest, and would soon be out of reach. So Gad dropped his cart at once, and ran fast as he could. But before he caught the hard shell, it had vanished in the wood. Gad thought, despite Mank's warning, that he might peek beyond a tree. No further than the first gnarled oak, what harm could there be? So he pressed a limb aside and wormed his way beneath, searching for the turtle's tracks among the roots and heath. But these woods were truly cursed. It was worse than he'd been warned. The ground was thick with toadstools, and the shrubbery was thorned. The trees themselves seemed restless. Their trunks would bob and sway. Gad turned around to flee, but branches barred his way. His pulse began to flutter when he heard the west wind moan. Leaves muttered as they shook, and stunted oaks would groan. Lost, he staggered deeper, listening for the far-off ocean, but every sound was just an echo, and every path a false one. At last he stumbled on a dell, with stones standing round the fringe. There lay the turtle in the middle, by a cave's mouth in the henge. Gad tiptoed toward the tortoise, which seemed a bit too still. Its head hung low, its eyes looked dull, the tongue lolled from its bill. As he nudged the plated shell, from inside there came a shout. The flukes fell from the leg holes, and 4 wee men sprang out. These fairies looked like fawns, woolly-legged and hirsute. Each had a tonsured scalp and a dagger in his boot. Gad, he was a smallish lad, but the gnomes just reached his knee. He looked down on their balding heads and asked them what they be. The oldest and the broadest one puffed up and faced Gad there. "You trespass on Fenodry land," he snarled. "Dominion of Queen Fair." Gad protested he was lost. "I was only hunting for a meal. I followed in your turtle shell, thinking it was real." The Fenodries bowed their brows, huddling arm in arm. They whispered in harsh voices, then bellowed an alarm. "Fochlich!" they shouted, and were answered from the cave by 100 grumbling voices in a timber very grave. "Hum, bum, thrum, hum," voices murmured in the night. "Hum, bum, thrum, hum." The cave's mouth filled with light. Out tromped more Fenodrees, like ants leaving their mound. Each held a candle for a torch, and repeated the same sound. Hum, thrum, hum. Their leader wore a yellow cloak. Hum, thrum, hum. He stepped forward, and he spoke. Rubber, I am Rumpus, the keeper of the tune. Now fear the law of our queen fair, the mistress of the moon. Rumpus searched his pockets for a bone shaped like a whistle. He loaded the barrel with a poisoned dart made from a Scottish thistle. When he puffed his cheeks, his bolt shot to Gad's belly. The Zig's arms went numb as bannocks, his legs felt soft as jelly. Gad fell helpless to the earth as the Fenodrees gathered round. With one bomb they hoisted him and hauled him underground.